They say defense wins championships, but more specifically, a great defensive line can win you a championship. You got to be able to stop the run and get after the quarterback to win playoff games. So let's rank the top 5 defensive lines heading into the 2023 NFL season. A reminder, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications so you get an alert every time we drop a new video. All right, let's get into it with number 5, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have a talented group of pass rushers, headlined by TJ Watt, the 2021 Defensive Player of the Year. Missed 7 games last season, but he is fully healthy now and ready to perform at a high level heading into 2023. Opposite him, Alex Highsmith had a breakout season last year with 14.5 sacks. And on the interior, Cameron Hayward is still wrecking shop at 34 years old. Coming off a 10.5 sack season, he and Larry Ogunjobi will plug up the middle of a defense that allowed the 8th fewest rushing yards per carry and the 9th fewest rushing yards per game last year, and was the number 10 graded run defense according to Pro Football Focus. The Steelers also drafted rookie Nick Herbig in the 4th round of this year's draft, who had an awesome preseason with 3.5 sacks and looks like a guy who could contribute as a rotational piece as early as his rookie year. This unit lacks depth, but the star power at the top brings them up to my number 5 defensive line, narrowly edging out the Dolphins and the Commanders. At number 4, we have the Dallas Cowboys, who boast 2 elite edge rushers, including the Defensive Player of the Year favorite Micah Parsons, coming off a 13.5 sack season, across from DeMarcus Lawrence, 3-time Pro Bowler, including last season, with Dorrance Armstrong breaking out last year, piling up 8.5 sacks, Dante Fowler 6 sacks. The Cowboys were 3rd in the NFL last year with 54 sacks and earned a number 2 pass rushing grade from Pro Football Focus, adding Mozzie Smith in the 1st round this year to beef up the interior and get better at stopping the run. This is a deep group with a lot of guys that know how to get after the quarterback and force turnovers. At number 3, the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners were Pro Football Focus's number 4 rated run defense and number 5 rated pass rush a year ago. They allowed the 2nd fewest rushing yards per game last season and the 2nd fewest rushing yards per carry. They have the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa, 18.5 sacks last year, maybe the best pass rusher in the NFL, and an emerging 2nd-year player in Drake Jackson, who had 3 sacks a year ago. They also signed Javon Hargrave to a massive contract this year to add some juice to the interior. He had 11 sacks last year with the Philadelphia Eagles, plus Eric Armstead should be back to full strength after missing a huge chunk of last year. This group can stop the run with the best of them and get after the quarterback. They are going to power the Niners to a great season. At number 2, the Tennessee Titans, who boasted the NFL's best run defense a year ago, ranking 1st in rushing yards per game allowed, 1st in rushing yards per carry allowed, and graded out as PFF's number 3 run defense. On the interior, Danico Autry, 8 sacks a year ago, Jeffrey Simmons, one of the most dominant interior linemen in the league, coming off a 7.5 sack season. Bookended by Harold Landry and Arden Key. Landry returning from a torn ACL suffered in training camp a year ago, who had 12 sacks the last time we saw him fully healthy. Arden Key, 4.5 sacks last year in a limited role. They have an emerging player on the interior in Tier Tart, who's had an unbelievable training camp and looked amazing in limited preseason action. They also are a deep group with Rashad Weaver and Trevis Gibson backing up the edge rushers. Weaver had 5.5 sacks last year. Gibson had 7 sacks in 2021, the last time he played in a 3-4 defense. Took a step back, but was the 5th highest double-teamed player in the NFL last year playing for the Bears. This is an extremely deep and talented group, and the last time we saw Landry, Simmons, and Autry on the field together, this Titans defense racked up 9 sacks in the 2021 divisional playoff game. They are an elite run-stopping unit that can get after the quarterback as well. This could be the best defensive line in the league by the end of this season. And at number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles lost some players, notably Javon Hargrave, Ndamukong Suh, and Linval Joseph, but this is still the defense that piled up an NFL-high 70 sacks last season. They have a number of guys who can get after the quarterback. Hassan Reddick had 16 sacks last year, Brandon Graham had 11, Josh Sweat had 11, Fletcher Cox still getting it done in his later years had 7 sacks last year, and they have other guys that are going to rotate in. Milton Williams had 4 sacks a year ago, Derek Barnett is coming back from a torn ACL suffered in week 1 of last year. Last season, Philadelphia ranked second in the league in pressure percentage despite blitzing at a below average rate. This was largely due to the defense's ability to get after the quarterback with just 4 pass rushers. And on top of that, they added Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the first round this year. Both guys have looked great in the preseason, and Jalen Carter could be your defensive rookie of the year. The Eagles' defensive line is still the best in football. Agree or disagree with these rankings? Let me know in the comments below who I left out of the top 5 that deserves to be here. And again, make sure you're subscribed to the Music City Audible. Turn on notifications so you get an alert every time we drop a new video. Give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.